that addict mindset of attaching ourselves to less than behaviors, attaching ourselves to less than thoughts, attaching ourselves in essence to less than living. So as addicts, we've for too long attached ourselves to something that ends in a downward spiral of catastrophe. We've hit the lows, we've hit the lowest lows, and we get back up and we continue to hit the lowest lows because we've attached ourselves to some less than standard of living. We've attached ourselves to some less than ideology in which we are forever doomed to fail in that asshole addict life. But if we want to grab hold of something that's heroic, we've got to begin to attach ourselves to something that actually has some substantiable and sustainable meaning. And as an addict, we've for too long suffered in our own pit of failure and misery. And in life, the meaning, the ultimate purpose is to attach yourself to some higher form of living that actually does you good, and in the end benefits those around you. That's the meaning and purpose of life. And if we have a discussion with someone that actually lived life, and through the span of their lifetime and the course of their living, they'll tell you that what it comes down to is actually giving back, having the joy that you actually committed to life and gave something and contributed something that made life a little bit better and made your life a little more understandable and actually gave you some meaning, something that got you up out of bed. And for too long as addicts, we haven't had the motivation to get out of bed and to actually live life. We've been stuck in that addict mindset of attaching ourselves to less than behaviors, attaching ourselves to less than thoughts, attaching ourselves in essence to less than living. So if we want a life worth living and we want to get out of this pit of misery, we've got to begin to attach ourselves to something that actually gives us meaning. And you say, well, what the hell can I attach myself? I'm this addict. I don't have much to offer. And in the very simplest terms, it doesn't mean that you have to attach yourself to some absolute standard or ideology that's going to go and sweep the culture away and change the world in one day, or change the world in some sense that anybody wants to actually begin to articulate what changing the world means. By changing the world and attaching yourself to something better that's actually going to improve you and hopefully improve those around you is the little things, man. Attach yourself to something that gives you some meaning, that motivates you to get out of bed, that's a little bit out of your reach, that's going to challenge you to become a better person. In essence, is going to stretch your capabilities so that you actually feel like you're achieving something, right? Fucking putting a lighter to the spoon, taking another bump, fucking going on that week-long binge. That's not stretching your capabilities. We've been doing that for years. We know we're fully capable of doing those less than behaviors. And that's not changing our life for any better. That's not changing anyone around us' lives for better. That's not making the world a better place. And we feel miserable. Why? Because we're not attached to something that actually gives us meaning. And we stay stuck in that misery because misery loves company. And we don't know what to do. Well, it's this simple. Attach yourself to something that's going to make a difference. And you say, what the hell can I do? And here's the simplest way that it can actually change your life, change the life around you, by attaching yourself to something very simple. Think about a man that goes to the meeting, the AA meeting, or the NA meeting. He's just looking for some hope. He's looking for some responsibility. He's looking to transform his life. So he commits. I'm going to go to this meeting day in and day out. And he shows up and he's consistent, he's persistent, and he speaks his mind when it needs to be spoken. And he helps other people out, and he smiles and he opens the doors, and people take notice, and he's always consistent. He shows up and they're like, hey, we're going to give you the keys, and we want you to show up and open the door early for people to come in, turn on the lights, get the coffee going. And after everybody's left, lock up, clean up a little bit, and then do this day in and day out. And it gives this guy a little meaning. And so he attaches himself to this idea of, can I be responsible? Because God knows as addicts, we haven't been able to string along 2 days of responsibility in a row in a long ass time, much less a week or a month. But this guy continues to show up, man, and it gives him a little hope. He's like, I'm the guy that unlocks the door, turns on the light, makes the coffee. I'm the guy that says what's up to people. I'm the guy that people depend on and know that I'm going to be there. And you say, well, what difference does that make? But you've attached yourself to something that stretches your capabilities a little bit. It requires you to be responsible. And it's also meaningful. It helps not only you, but it helps other people out. And you begin to notice that you're transforming and responsibility begins to take on this personality of its own in your life. And people depend on you for being there. You're the one that literally opens the door to their hope. And you turn on the lights that gives them a little meaning to their day. And they come to that meaning knowing that someone has unlocked the door and someone's going to be there and there's going to be coffee made and the lights are going to be on. And at the end of the day, someone knows that the doors are going to be locked and that place is going to be safe. And they all know that again tomorrow it's going to start up and the doors are going to be unlocked, the lights are going to be on, and the coffee's going to be made because some man attached himself to this small and simple idea that he's going to be a little more responsibility and stretch his capabilities and stretch his responsibilities so that he actually partakes in something meaningful. And the world may look at you and say, what? That dude's not doing anything. He's unlocking the door and turning on the lights. But over the course of your life and over a span of any length, how many lives have you impacted? Hundreds, thousands of people within a year or a decade or over the course of your life, if you remain consistent in that. Walk through them doors and they're looking for some damn hope and they're looking for someone to say, they're looking for the lights to be turned on and they're looking for dependability and they're looking for someone to show them a glimpse of responsibility. And you, by attaching yourself to just turn on the lights and unlock the door and be there consistently, has given those people hope. And they may never know that you're the man behind the scenes unlocking the door and turning on the lights and making the coffee, but who cares, because you've given them people hope. And in their darkest days, when they really need some inspiration or they're thinking about ending it or giving it all up, they know they can walk through that door because it's going to be unlocked. There's going to be a meeting. There's going to be people. There's going to be someone to greet them. There's going to be some coffee on those cold nights. And they know that it's going to be their day in and day out because someone has attached themselves to a little bit more responsibility. So we can shirk responsibility by saying, oh, I can't make a difference because all I can do is unlock the door and turn on the lights or greet someone or be nice or be kind. Well, that's one of the greatest and most simplest things that you can do over the course of your life. And I don't care who the person is. A person can have it all together, never be an addict, go to work every day and have the home and have the family. But if they're not attaching themselves to any more meaningful substance than just living and breathing, then they're not contributing to society. And I don't care if you've been an addict 30 years. If you decide to attach yourself to something that's not only going to help you, but help others, then you're living a more meaningful life than that person that appears to have it all together. Attach yourself to something that's going to not only wake you up in the morning and give you a little responsibility and stretch your abilities and capacities, but it's going to influence others. Find something, and it can be as simple as every day greeting people with an encouraging smile and an encouraging word. You know what? Because they become to rely upon that. That man's always going to be there with the kind word. That man's going to be there to lift me up. And on my shitty days, I can depend on old Bob's going to smile at me and say, hey, that's life, buddy, but we're going to keep going. So attach yourself. And even if it's just unlocking the doors and turning on the lights and being there for someone consistently and having that dependable role in someone's life, man, you're changing and impacting someone for the better, because we all know as addicts, we need dependability. We need someone that we can rely upon. We need that consistency in our life that's actually going to inspire us to know that things can remain stable. And you as an addict know this the most. And me as an addict know that we have to attach ourselves to a higher standard of living because we've stayed stuck in that pit of mire and despair for too long. And if we can remove ourselves from that asshole attachment and begin to attach ourselves to something heroic, something bigger, and something as trivial as just unlocking the door and turning on the lights, then that's going to impact our lives and overlap into different areas of our life. And God Almighty, it's going to overlap into someone else's life. And we can inspire people just by showing up and attaching ourselves to something a little bit bigger than ourselves. Give some people hope. Find some attachment. Get yourself out of that asshole excuse that I'm an addict and poor pitiful me. Attach yourself to a better thought. Attach yourself to better living. Attach yourself to something that's actually going to inspire you and transform and transmute into inspiring others. You are a hero. Get that asshole mindset out of your mind. I love you guys.